What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? It's your boy GRC. This is Crypto in the Morning. We had an absolutely parabolic show yesterday. Controversial to say the least. I love this shit. I do not care if this shit dumps to zero. I fucking don't care about any of it anymore. I love cryptocurrency. I think I love it. And I'm not rich, and you all know, well, I'm not like set from cryptocurrency whatsoever. 0%, none, zero. Don't even think like that, because that's not true. A lot of people do think that just because they have never heard me speak, that I'm like assuming the role of some really rich guy. I want that to be smashed down quick, because I'm assuming the role of the truth seeker. That's all I want. Me and Sam, we love truth transparency. We can make money doing 150,000 different things. We could sell products, supplements. I could train people all day long. Do I want to do that? No. Personally, no. I don't like that. But you know what I do love to do? I love to dig into shit that people don't know about and just show them that this has nothing to do with what college you went to. This has nothing to do with what tests you studied for. This has to do with open-mindedness, mental clarity, real life experience. Guys, are you kidding me? This is crazy. This shit's crazy. Me and Bullish and Sam were just talking in the background. We're like, we're just average guys, and if in our own, families, no families, stuff going on, jobs, everyone's got their shit. But this is an opportunity to make a difference, for real, a real difference. Not even, this is new tech, guys. Are you kidding? This is brand new tech. We're talking about 3% of the United States, of the world population has interacted with cryptocurrency. I say this every single day. 50% on the low end in 5 years. Okay, let's start talking about adoption then. Instead of talking about, oh my God, this dude just sold $40 million and it's over for me because I forgot to sell the top and I wish nobody knew that I wanted to sell the top too. Like, shut the fuck up, you retards. You're sick. You're twisted. You're stupid. You have no life experience. People can sell whatever they want, whenever they want. And I hope that they look at you in the face and say you're a wrecked pleb when they do it. Because you are. Okay? Buying tops, selling bottoms is smart. Very intelligent moves. Okay? I'm so fucking sick of this stupid shit on internet. All you rich, fat losers talking shit to each other. You have no idea. Why can't people sell whatever they want? It's like a bunch of rich dudes playing like, and then I'm in here like, dude, I'm going to run this show. I'm going to make it popular, and I'm going to start calling people out because it's stupid. Don't we want this to work? Don't we want this? If this is for real, then this will work without all this fighting or with all the fighting, guys. I'm super stoked up today. I cannot fucking even think straight. And I cursed like 100 times during the intro, which is like the giant no-no of the century. But sometimes you got to get your point across. Gunther came on the show yesterday. He spilled his guts. Okay? Spilled his guts. He said, I did this, I did that, my shit's doxed, fuck you. And I said, God damn it, I love that. I love that. I don't know Gunther personally, right? None of that's my business. But I think the reality of crypto needs to be not more transparent, like with names, but like nobody's honest about their intentions. So let's just dig into the facts and the data, Sam. Sam, what do we do in pharmacology? We dig straight into the data. We don't ask people at the gym what they think about. That would be the dumbest thing, right? To go to the gym and be like, hey, do you know about pharmacology? And like study it as if like you were going to live by that. It'd be stupid. Go to the data. It's on the blockchain. Guys.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Rich at heart. Rich at heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich at heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. shoes. Pull chains out, gonna get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died, collect. Hex had me eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Buy my Hex from the fucking start. Girl flexing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Buy my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Getting this back like a year ago.
What's good? How you doing, man? How you doing this morning?
I just got all my energy out during that monologue.
Yeah, no, that was good.
That was like my morning energy burst.
That was good.
So much going on, Sam.
Yesterday's show was fire, dude. I had probably 3 or 4 messages on Instagram. So most of the time when people message me, they message on Twitter because it's where we say to go, right? Link down below if you care to check it out. But I had 3 or 4 messages on Instagram reaching out and be like, hey, show was good yesterday. There was all-time high viewers yesterday. Gunther was dropping. Like, I don't understand why people are getting pissy with him. Like, if I am going to do something in my best interest, I'm going to do what's in my best interest, period. Like, if I'm going to sell,
Especially if you have children. Especially if you have children.
Yeah.
Like, I get, like, being a freedom fighter, like, living alone, alpha male, like, if you really want to do that. But once you have kids, guys, game over. Done. Like, you have to protect your family.
Yeah, and if you're getting free money, somebody, Alex, who created Hedron, if he knew what he was doing, he knew that a lot of OGs were just going to dump the shit, right? They were just going to dump it. I would have done exactly the same. I would have done the same exact thing. Same exact thing. I was saying this, and I'm still not. I just don't own it, like barely any Hedron. But like I was telling you this 2 months ago. I was like, I don't see a point in holding Hedron. I told you this multiple times.
Yes.
And I understand the value prop and all this.
We've changed our stance a little bit about the long term, I think, because of the adoption.
Yeah, a little bit. But here's the thing: I had a really deep conversation with Crypto Sloth.
I know. I want to hear about it, by the way.
You guys check it out, link down below. But
yeah, I'm gonna drop that one because I missed that completely. I was doing yard work, but I know that was crazy.
Ooh, that was really good. We did like 40 minutes on just the advanced stake. So one of the very interesting takeaways from the nuances that I wasn't understanding about it was, so there's a stake that's coming up for default right now, and it's a $500 hex stake that borrowed about, what is your poor fat losers? So they borrowed about $4 a Hedron against their $500 stake. So you're borrowing $4 against a $500 stake. Now, there was a couple interesting things that he pointed out. That first being that when this goes up for auction, there's going to be, say that sells for $350, or say that sells for $400. You have 100 times more Hedron that is being burned. So that Hedron could be deflationary if there's people who are using the advanced feature. Now, I personally I'm not sold that people are going to use the borrowing feature if you can borrow 4% against, or like not even 4%, like less than 1%.
No, I disagree, but we could talk about that.
Please. I don't know of anybody who's going to borrow again. If you have $1 million house, if you have $1 million position, you're not going to borrow $1,000 against that.
1,000? No.
Well, that's what's happening with Hedron.
No, but in the future.
No, I know, but so he had a good point. The only way he sees people using the advanced feature in Hedron is if when, I don't know if the when part, right? But if Hedron accelerates enough so that is 20 or 30% of the value of the stake. So what does that mean? You have $1,000 stake. The only reason it would make sense to get the loan or the advance against that is by taking that out and utilizing like say it was 30% of $1,000. So you get a $300 loan instead of a $4 loan on a $500 stake. So you get an $8 loan on $1,000. That just doesn't make a terrible ton of sense for what you risk. Like if you miss or don't, there's some issue in your life and you don't make a payment in 90 days on your advance, you just lose your money, right? You lose your hex stake that you put out there. And people who are doing like a $500 stake, that's probably more meaningful to them, right? Because they're only doing $500 versus like somebody who's doing $20,000 or $150,000 stakes, right? That's going to be a completely different person that's going to be doing that. Somebody who's doing a $500 stake on this is probably the likelihood of them taking a loan against that. It just seems so trivial, so small, unless he done really accelerates in price where you can get 20 or 30% against it, like LTV type of thing against your position. Otherwise, it just doesn't seem to make sense again. Now,
again,
please talk. Why would you get a loan?
I can't comment. I'm not going to confidently comment on this at this moment. I'm going to watch your video. I'm going to do a couple more. I go in these ebbs and waves, like looking at certain things, but I'm telling you guys, I love looking at that adoption chart that you slammed down everyone's throat, because I'm telling you, Sam, you were on that, and it changed the way that I thought about everything, dude. I was like, all these people that are fighting right now, they're 2.5% of the entire pot. Like it's like you have to. I'm 28 years old, guys. I don't give a fuck about rich people shit that much. Like, I just want to know what's going on, because I understand success in this world. Most people never find it. It's about digging deeper than everyone else because you want to, because you put yourself in the mental position to do so by taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your crypto, and your financial health. That put me and Sam in a position where we can focus this entire bear market, every single day. And Sam, I don't even have to ask Sam. I never asked him if he wanted to cover this shit all bear market. I know it. It's without a doubt, because there's too much value here, Sam. I just claimed all my Dogecoin this morning. I made a good amount of money. I'm talking about $1,000 in a bear market, or, whatever it is for me, like, $1,000 in a bear market for free. I'm telling you guys, you could survive off of the free incentivization. This is a technology that has not been tapped yet, even in a bear market. The game is changing. I don't care. I don't care about bear markets in the past. Yes, the price is not going to go up, but the opportunities will only be everywhere. Everywhere. People are coming out with new stuff, derivative products, Pulse Doge shooting up in price like I never seen anything. There's stuff all over the place. I'm covering it every day.
Dude, every day. The adoption, people are not grasping. People are just not understanding the adoption at all. Like, so you've been on PubMed, right? We've both been on PubMed and CBI to look up research papers, right? If you look up crypto, right, this is what the chart actually looks like. So what does this look like? We're talking about the growth rate of this. The adoption curve is exponential. This is literally.
Sam, we have to pull it up again. Go to the technology chart. Show the people what the other technologies have done. Just because that chart really shoves it right in your face, Sam. I mean, whoever wrote that chart was awesome. Putting all that, extrapolating that together, guys. This is reality, Sam. Reality. It's reality. The microwave, Sam. It's the same thing. It's tech.
They just don't. It's just not.
I just think it's our age, because I'm telling you, we were talking to a Bitcoin guy in Tangents chat. I was giving him the hardest time of all time. But like he was saying, the reason I stopped investing in Hex is because of RH's attitude, and the Hexicans are crazy. And I said, you're a weak loser fucking dork. Get the fuck out of here. If you can't handle your crybaby feelings and you don't want to make money, go be a plumber and do some other shit. Go do whatever. Get out of my shit. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about my feelings even. I really don't care about my feelings that much. My feelings are very secondary to my.
You just want the truth. Like, the feelings don't matter. The feelings don't matter. It's like, what is the actual answer? Okay, cool. I'll put my feelings aside because that's the truth. And just like this chart is the truth, what is happening in the crypto space right now?
I need to talk about this.
Oh,
God damn it. Consumption, guys. This is new technology. Don't think of it as anything. Just change the name. You guys love these singular products so much. Hex, crypto, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter, guys. You have to learn. You have it, even if Hex isn't, I don't want to say anything like that because that's not, I don't have any insight on all that. But let's say Hex, Ethereum, let's say those are no longer a thing in the future. It doesn't matter. Focus, learn now, please. Because 2.5% of the population, Sam, 2.5% of 90%, Sam, 90% of that 2.5% has no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Dude, think about this too. Okay, so we're at this pivotal point, and I've said this every single time now. I'm going to continue saying it because nobody else is talking about this. I've watched this play out with Tesla. I understood what was happening with Tesla. So with an EV, the biggest cost in an EV is the battery and all of the tech around the battery pack, the thermal management, how it's all put together. All of that is like an LCD TV where it was $2,000 in 1999, and now you can go to Walmart and get one for 37 bucks, right? Well, excuse me. When I saw this with Tesla, there's something called Wright's Law. Wright's Law states something like every time there's a doubling in aggregate production on an annual basis, the cost per unit drops by a constant. So what does that mean? What does that mean? So that means if you go from 10,000 units produced in year one to year two, you have 20,000 units produced. The cost per unit drops because you have economies of scale. It's kind of like Moore's Law, but related to many different technologies and might actually be a better predictor of things than Moore's Law. It's just not as well known. It's called Wright's Law. Now, you look at the cost per kilowatt of the battery, the module, the thermal management on an EV, and it's following this curve. And you're like, damn, this shit's going to have a crossover point where regular ICE engine vehicles are here, and we see that EVs are coming down faster. They're going to penetrate through the ICE engine vehicle market, and they're going to be way costlier.
Look at that internet curve, dude. It's ridiculous, dude. The internet curve is ridiculous. I see crypto beating the internet curve. Why? Because it's already attached to it, right? So, they gave us the layup, right? The internet was there. I think of the internet and crypto as like Hex and Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin was there. It did crazy things you could never imagine in history. But what did Hex do better? Just a little bit better, right, Sam? A little more efficient, a little bit easier. Come on.
This is crazy, bro.
Guys, we're talking about stuff that you can't imagine in your mind.
This is an S curve, right? Look, this is the microwave. 1970.
The microwave, just to warm your fucking food.
Warm up your food.
Putting legacy finance into the pocket of the user.
This is literally every single technology, guys. Every single technology follows an S curve. Doesn't you name it, and it followed an S curve.
Sam, I have an episode planned today, and you don't even know about it, so let's talk for a sec. Guys, we talked about the S curve. Me and Sam are clear about our positions. We don't care if you sell every single thing you have. I don't care if Hex goes to zero. Y'all can suck my cock. Literally, because I just want to learn, be transparent. I'm not a slave to no one, but I also understand the best software in the business as of right now is what I'm researching on the daily. Hex.com. RH is the most transparent guy that I have found in the crypto space, bar none, not even close. Guess what? All those guys, all those Bitcoin maxis that want everyone to be so nice. Why can't you Hex guys be nice so all of us want to come in? Do Kwon was really nice, wasn't he? Friendly guy, right? Really, really friendly. He'll rug you 10 times over. You know why? Because VC's got a gun to his head anyway. So, guys, I have a show today planned. Sam's never experienced a bear market. I've only experienced half-ish of a bear market, but I wasn't even involved yet, so I didn't really know what the fuck was going on. But me and Sam are experiencing the bear market. Oh, and we're experiencing it, baby. We want all of it. We want to see what the fuck this shit can do. I'm going to curse all episode. I'm sorry. I know the numbers aren't going to like that in the algo. Actually, I'm going to stop doing that right now. Guys, I'm going to shill something before we start. I watched a technical analysis show last night, Sam. Wave 3 TV, good friend of mine. Awesome. First guy I ever streamed with. He's the TA master, not short-term TA, only long-term TA, only trends, 200-week you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like he looks at the trends and then says, guys, be safe, do this, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be watching clips from that right now. And I want you to chime in. And he has perfect audio, perfect everything. So it'll be good. But in general, Sam, bear markets are predictable, right, Sam? Altcoins are going to lose to Bitcoin. Period. End of story. I'm sorry. Not everyone. Like obviously some Hex has done crazy things happen, people start spending money, but you know what I mean. If we're talking about stability, protecting your family, it's important. Guys, so we're going to play this video. I just want you to watch it and just enjoy it and then bounce a couple ideas off of the video. We're going to do like 10 or 15 minutes on this. This dude, I was locked in doing yard work yesterday watching Wave 3. He's coming on the show. Guess who else might be appearing on the show very, very soon? Silver the Antidote.
Ooh, that's going to be a good show.
Silver, I think you guys got to his DMs. Because he said, hey, I enjoyed the show yesterday, et cetera, et cetera. I'm always hitting him up. I mean, I have 100.
When you're mentioning TA, I think it's almost more of like looking at macro level data when you look at that really far level stuff. Like
it's exactly
right. Because
macro, I don't use that word wrong. Macro. It's like I never.
You're looking way out. Like when we're looking at the adoption curve, we're looking at macro level data. That's what's going on.
Good morning, Abe. Before we play this video, Bullish, just give me a little signal that you're in the house. Okay. So before we play the video, we'll just fast forward to 240. It's probably already there. Guys, this is my friend Wave 3 TV. I think his name's Wave 3 Up now. He is one of the most intelligent men I have ever spoken to one-on-one. This dude was the first person to invite me to a stream ever. For no reason other than I was in his DM, probably like, dude, what's going on? I'm so excited. Like, so he invited me on a stream. He's not much of a streamer as far as like he jumps on every Thursday. That's the alpha, guys. When I pull a guy up on this screen, just know that's a guy you should be watching because those are the guys that I watch. And I'm not saying he's right about everything. He doesn't care about your feelings. He doesn't care about your pocketbook. He doesn't care about shit. He wants to buy bottoms. He wants to snipe bottoms. That's what this guy likes to do. Sell top, snipe bottoms. I can just relate to that because that's literally that's just the truth.
What do you want to touch? Well, in a second,
he's going to be talking about Bitcoin dominance,
the DCA, like of this bear market, because we were talking about it before we came on. And if you're in that spot where you don't have a large bag, right? Like you don't have a lot of crypto, this is such a phenomenal time where we're talking about before, and $500 gets you a big bet in terms of the number of hacks, right? And we know we're in a bear market. There's a decent chance that if you're dollar costing DCAing $500 a week or $500 a month, you're going to be buying throughout this whole period of time, building and stacking that into the future, really setting yourself up.
But I'm telling you, Sam, on that same note, Sam, we have to be really careful. You saw Luna do a 99 off of 99. Sam, that's crazy shit. Coins go away. I want to look at the top. After this video, I want to look at the top 20. And I want to tell you, the top 20 was unidentical. I mean, unidentifiable.
So he's going to have the top 20 from the period when he did
well, he talks about it all the time. He's like, those coins aren't around anymore. Period.
No,
Cardano is, Polkadot, like 2 or 3, but the whole thing was different. Think about it, Sam. People don't look at the full picture. They get narrow-minded because why? They don't have enough time. Guess who has enough time? I will do it for you. Trust me. I love this shit. All right, let's play the video.
I love this energy today.
Dude, I can't stop, won't stop because, dude, it's this bullshit. I'm sick of it, dude. I just want people to be happy, bro. It's so easy. It's not easy to be happy, but it's easy to calm down and realize, like, just work a little bit harder than you did yesterday, and you will just fine.
Yes, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And that consistency day in and day out, just marginally better than you. Who gives a shit what I'm doing?
Sam, what are you doing for Memorial? You have big plans?
For what?
Memorial Day weekend. You got any plans?
When is that?
This weekend.
Oh, no, I'm not doing anything. But
me neither. I got asked that question about 20 times yesterday, and I said I'd rather chop my toenails off than waste any more time. Okay, let's play it. All right, so let's play this video.
Having a solo stream. We do have some very big announcements for the following stream, so we will save those until they are back home, and that way we have a full panel as far as how we start to push new content out into YouTube. So there is a video we made recently. So we'll ETH the Bitcoin crash market, very useful video because Ethereum is showing a lot of weakness comparatively to that of Bitcoin. But before we touch up on the crypto market, let's of course first start with the stock market. So stocks have been moving the last couple of days, and just to make sure the audio sounds good, is the audio for everybody that's viewing the stream right now? I just want to make sure the audio sounds okay, because I don't have any way to verify it on my end. I think it's okay, but let me just make sure that is sounding good before we get into the charts. And then let me actually drop the link to the stream here. I'm going to drop this also in the Telegram chat that I know a lot of you guys are in as well.
See the chat going wild.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate that, Craig.
Hey,
and then just a sec here. I want to drop this in the alerts Telegram.
Enjoying your support, Maddie, and enjoying the ride of like continuing to grow and learn myself. So thank you for the support and the kind words. Hopefully everybody else is learning and growing as well on their own path.
Yeah, that's all we can do is provide value. So that's what, like, me and Sam understand that. We've been doing that for a long time, different industries. So like we're just translating it here, and it really fits perfect, Sam. Let's go ahead and go again, guys. He's talking about the macro.
Before we actually get into the chart, guys, so we actually get into the chart, guys, so we are beginning to push, at least as far as the production goes, between streams and videos. So there is an opportunity to join in amongst the team members here, specifically related to some of the video editing. I have some basic skills when it comes to Adobe, but if there's anyone in particular that also likes to dabble specifically with video editing, there's some cool stuff that we're working on. So if there's any interest there, Wave3 up on Twitter. You could also get us on Telegram as well. So you could DM me directly on Telegram.
I wanted to have
either
it
Wave3 up or
plug. I wanted to have it playing for the plug because I wanted people to know that didn't know him who he was. So if the beginning's lagging a little bit, guys, for him just getting started, if you don't know Wave3 up, he's a really good friend of mine. I've been begging him to come on the show. He's in Cali, so the timing's a little weird. But I really, really, really think this guy's a good guy to follow during the bear market, in my opinion. So he's going to get started.
TV, so I have those two tags on Telegram. So getting into the charts on stocks, we have a bounce here during this week thus far, but we want to also be mindful in terms of how the trend is so far, because we were expecting at least stocks to eventually have some kind of rally, which is of course taking place during this week thus far. And if we pull up, let's actually pull up the monthly chart here, and let's turn on the Bollinger Bands. So the monthly chart, it provides a lot of details as far as like the overall trend that we're seeing across the markets. We've obviously had a very bearish trend in stocks that are directly impacting the crypto markets. And let me before we go further, I'm sorry guys, let me just reshare the screen here. I noticed there's for some reason there was overlaying a second chart onto the same screen. Let's see if this works here. Okay, yeah, I think that's a lot better. All right, cool, there we go. So for the stock market, as we mentioned with the monthly time frame, even going back to, it's been a couple of months now, but I remember we were actually mentioning this, major moving average on the monthly chart. So the prices are more or less below that major moving average. And that's where, that's why always the higher time frames start to give some sense in terms of where the price chart can ultimately, go next as far as where that next major support is, specifically on the S&P 500. So we know that stocks will have a huge pull on the crypto market. So stocks are below their 20-week moving average. So if that's just kind of the baseline as far as bull support across the markets, stocks are still very bearish until reclaiming that 20-week moving average. So markets overall are just not looking good. And we've of course seen that in crypto specifically. There's sort of this there's been a lot of very poor, very bad, very bad recommendations from a lot of YouTube channels suggesting that crypto is still in a bull market. Crypto is not in a bull market, guys. It is absolutely 100% not in a bull market. We are by definition, in a bear market. And we've seen that with a lot of.
Yes, that's true. Hex Daily, you're muted. Hex Daily, thank you for the support, brother. Go ahead, Jersey.
Hex Daily, thank you so much for the $30.99 super chat. I think that's the first time I've seen you in here.
And that's also, it's $8. Is that Australian dollars, I think? Are you from Aussie? It looks like your picture might be from Aussie.
Oh, yeah, that is Aussie because that's 33% more than the US dollar because that's $20. So, yeah, that is Aussie. Wow, I'm smarter than you guys thought. Just kidding. Hex Daily, thank you so much.
But also true.
I don't think I've seen you in here, so I appreciate seeing you. I love seeing new people in here. Like more than any dollar signs. If I see a new emblem, that makes me way more excited. Not gonna lie, and I don't, I just
ALTCOINS getting decimated over the last couple of weeks, and I just want to warn you guys, like the altcoin game is very risky in bear market specifically because the downside risk is obviously going to be much higher. So that's why the bigger caps, at least in terms of the downside, are going to be less. But even for something like Bitcoin, I mean, it still gets absolutely blitzed in bear markets, and this is really the first one we're seeing potentially what could turn into a longer bear cycle in the stock market as well. There's of course the speculation as far as whether what's taking place globally is already priced in. A lot of that is speculation, but I think what's not necessarily factored in yet is there's going to be quantitative tightening taking place going into the summer months, and that's where there's further contraction as far as how much money supply is out there across the financial markets. So once you start to pull that liquidity out, that means there's less overall for the assets that are trading between stocks and crypto, and that's going to be very difficult for the markets to move again. So we're in a bear market, guys. We just have to see ultimately where the prices end up finding their bottoms. There's going to be a lot of speculation in terms of what the bottom is, but we are in a bear market. This is not. This is absolutely 100% not a bull market, guys. No way. No.
Thank you. So we remember we didn't actually have a recession since 2008, the housing crisis. It's been 14 freaking years.
Now, Sam, what's the difference between a reset? Like for me, not for you. This is for me. I'm a young man. I don't know. What's the difference here between is a bear market just a 6-month downtrend under the 200? Day moving average, like all the trends are going low for a certain amount of time, and then you can assume that there's not going to be enough money to capitalize it, or is it about the rates and stuff? Like, does it have a specific? What's the difference between a recession?
Well, there's a specific definition that a lot of financial media uses. I pulled it up here: a period of temporary economic decline during which trade, industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 consecutive quarters. So what that means is the output of a country or state, or depending on how it's being defined, is declining for 2 quarters in a row. So that's a 6-month period for declining. That's generally speaking. I think anybody with half a brain or any functioning gray matter understands that we've actually been in this for quite some time. Like, what is inflation?
Sam, I'm telling you, you think that because you talk to us. I know this is going to be odd, but if you go to every YouTube account with over 30,000 subscribers that has anything to do with crypto, they are still saying it's a bull market, and they are still dumping on everyone. I swear, Sam, this is not a joke. This is just like fitness. Think about it. It's the guys that are saying they're not doing trend and they're saying they're natty. It's the same exact thing. They just keep saying they'll do anything to sell their people to shit, whatever that shit is.
That
basically means all the media is lying and telling everyone the wrong thing.
I'm curious because in 2008, instead of actually solving problems, the government, which their problem solving is printing more money, right? They printed more money in 2008 and they bailed out their friends in Wall Street, right? We're coming up to this time now where we've had 14 years of economic prosperity. 14 years, roughly, give or take a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be going into this time. This could be a very prolonged bear market, which means that it may not just be 2 or 3 quarters, right? This could be
But
2
it
or 3
depends
years.
how they approach it, because now that I'm thinking on my feet, because I'm learning more about this, it really just depends on the way they approach it. It's like if they approach it by printing out more money, which they very well might at some point, they might just resort, because Sam, let's get to the elections real quick. Those are part of this. The United States elections, guys, they're switching from Democrat to Republican. We know this, okay? I know this, and I'm not even good at that stuff. Like, so what does that mean, Sam? They might give it one more go. They might say, screw it. And they might just say, hyperinflate it, see what happens, because Trump's coming in or the Republicans are coming in anyway.
But I think that there's going to be some more fiscal responsibility with spending, right? If that GOP comes in and Democrats are basically don't have much control anymore, we could have some slightly intelligent policies that are starting to be implemented, but there's still so much spending and so much printing of money. Even if the government decides to print another 40%, it's going to create that same 2 tiers of society where there's going to be a bunch of shitholes who don't have fucking anything at all whatsoever.
So, Sam, let's relate this though, for me and for the video that we were watching, Wave 3.
I think this could be a very long period of time.
The S&P, right? He mentioned the S&P right off the jump. That's the first place he went. Why? Because in his opinion, that's the largest market, right? That's going to be that is probably
one of the things that a lot of people look to. Yes,
right. No, so this is a process, guys, that I want. Don't be blinded by Hex Crypto, Pulse Chain, or anything. This is best software in the game, period. But that's not what I mean. I mean, don't be blinded about your information, right? You want to be realistic with yourself. Richard's not going to say anything negative about any of his stuff. That is the way that I would do it probably too. But we can be honest and realistic in our research while supporting the best products in the world, period. Okay. So we go to the S&P, then he's going to travel to Bitcoin. With someone with your experience, Sam, tell me about legacy finance. What's going on right now? Just give me a brief ethos. Is this absolutely out of control for them? Real people in legacy, trusted legacy, are losing everything, Sam. What?
Look at a lot of the companies. Look at a lot of the companies that are in legacy. They're big. What are they struggling with? Finding people. Why are they struggling to find people? Because people like you, people like myself, I left the workforce 3 years ago. There's no chance I'm going back into that workforce. Period.
I'll never go back, by the way.
And you know what? There's people around the country and around the world doing that every single day. Because once you go through an experience, the freedom and the autonomy to live your life how you want to live your
you're
life.
done. You're screwed. Don't do it if you're not ready.
So what does that do? That takes out people who are ambitious. That takes out people who are hungry. That takes out people who take initiative in their life from the workforce. These legacy companies are there's a lot of them. They're gonna just coast on in terms of their nostalgic value of their brand. The innovation is not happening with those companies. We understand the innovation is not happening with these companies. The innovation is happening with the small companies. It's with people who are actually having those meaningful, deep conversations to come to better conclusions and better results and move things forward. It's not happening at these legacy companies. This is all layered on top of that macro level crypto space. We're at the beginning stages of this gargantuan adoption curve in crypto, where we're just getting started. So you have this talent drain, right, from legacy world. There are people who are going to this, right? I make all my money online, or I make money online. I don't go to a job anymore, right? And there's so many people who are leaving that way things used to be done to do stuff online. And when I talk about people hey, have you ever thought about doing stuff online? All they think about is hey, Sam, I don't want to be in front of a camera. I was like, bro, if you think that you need to be in front of a camera to make money online, you are that guy.
Most people will make less money online if they go in front of the camera, to be honest.
if that's what they're doing to expect money, you're absolutely correct.
The reason I'm in front of the camera is because I'm camera friendly and I'm very talkative. So it's worked for me. But if I wasn't, I would have just done something else on the internet. Way easier to make money on the internet on the feet. I could embarrass, like when people tell me about, I was thinking about work and shit yesterday and all the bullshit I used to do 10 hours a day. I was like, I could pretty much make the same amount of money without even doing anything. Now that you have the confidence, though, it takes a while.
So what? Think about that. Think about that. You,
Mm-hmm.
young, talented, hungry, ambitious young man,
Mm-hmm.
is never going back into the way things were done.
Nope, I never went. I was never there. I never went to Legacy. I didn't know what Legacy was.
But you were working.
I would have.
But you were working in the sense. When I say legacy, I should define that better. Legacy, the way I'm using this, is not just old large companies, but old ways of doing things where there could be a better way of doing things in terms of fulfillment for that person. And that taking into consideration the individual and what they want to achieve and how they want to impact the world. That's what when I'm saying legacy, that's what I'm meaning. And these people are just leaving to go do their own thing. And it's if you make $150,000,
I would have made millions for the Legacy system. Millions. And
Yep.
if I went the way I was going, because I mean, I was working my balls off and all that shit, but I was only getting better. I was only getting bigger.
You probably would have purchased the company. We had even talked about that. You may have.
No, I know. I would have, and I would have probably had more. If I really wanted to do that, I would have done just like I'm doing this. I would have stepped up and gone for it. But I was always on the fence. I didn't know if I wanted to go all balls deep because Sam kind of knew. I kind of knew. I was like, I'm just waiting for something, right? I wanted something else, but whatever. Like, yeah, like I would have made, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing what I was doing. And I would have learned nothing. And I would have been stuck here clueless with no security, with no anything. So people didn't understand where I was coming from when I said I didn't know anything. Like I'm started from zero. But I also wanted to show people that you could start from zero and outsmart people that have been here for years within months.
Give them context. GRC didn't know how to copy a picture on the computer.
I didn't know how to download a picture. I knew how to copy it. I didn't know how to download it and like put it in there. So because Bullish kept saying quality of your pictures, it sucks. I was like, well, when I clicked on it, it looked fun. And he said, oh, you don't. He was like, you got to download it.
But to give people context, because they don't understand where you're coming from. They don't understand.
This is 80 days ago. This was 80 to 100 days ago with the pictures. Like I just started, I knew how to post pictures on Instagram. I knew how to post shit on TikTok with my bodybuilding shit. But again, I had never explored the real internet. Internet.
I'm curious to see when he goes into Bitcoin and relates that to the S&P 500. That's going to be super interesting.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Let's pull this back up and touch on that.
On the next time we go into this, I really want to let's get a little bit deeper into what he's saying specifically because he's about to get into the weeds a little bit.
Dope. Bullish, can you play that, please?
Yeah, Bullish might have stepped out for a second. It's fine.
Cool.
We could talk so basically, Sam, when you say we could be in a bear market for a long time, okay, he's back. Never mind.
Go ahead and play. It's muted.
We know stocks are bearish. Let's see where the bounce takes us in the stock market because it is relatively there is a bit of a spring right now off the Bollinger Bands, but again, until we get back above major moving averages on stocks, that's ultimately going to paint the picture for crypto as well. So if we actually flip over to Bitcoin has not seen the same reaction so far. So crypto is basically very weak comparatively to the stocks that are bouncing right now. So the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, Bitcoin is relatively weak. It's having trouble around this 30K level. And a lot of that is also influenced by the fact that ETH to Bitcoin is beginning to see a much bigger drop in the market. So this sort of distribution pattern, I would say previously we were speculating on this.
What does that mean?
Sort of distribution before this big drop we've recently seen. So the market is now confirming this to be more of a.
Yeah, so ETH to Bitcoin is so Bitcoin is gaining value relative to ETH, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, basically, what's going on? ETH is considered an alt, right, Sam? So like alts are losing to Bitcoin, right? And ETH's going to be the primary indicator of that, and then you can extrapolate lower as you go down in the market cap or whatever. like you could say like it's going to be more volatile as you go down, right? But it's a really good indicator when you're looking at Ethereum, because if it's getting volatile already, Ethereum's big, dude. You know that. Like it's crazy.
Have you ever heard of the term flight to quality?
No, sir.
Okay, so in the financial markets, and this is we're literally watching this happen, and he's pointing it out. We're literally watching this happen. When there's perceived risk in the financial markets, whether that's war or inflation or recession or all of the above, there's a flight to safety. So just pull up the definition, is a financial market phenomenon occurring when investors sell what they perceive to be higher risk investments and purchase safer investments. What does that mean? Alts, they're going to sell alts at a faster rate, and they're going to put their money into Bitcoin. So in the legacy world, they're going to, if you think of FX, which is foreign exchange, right? They're going to sell other currencies, and they're probably going to purchase the dollar because the perceived risk of the dollar, I know we might not necessarily agree to that, but the perceived risk of the dollar tends to be less than other countries' currencies. So that's how it used to be, right? They would purchase treasuries. So I found that kind of interesting because it's highlighting exactly what happens in the legacy world. Bullish, thank you for pausing that.
Clips up in here. Yo.
Yes.
Yo. Good to see you, Wave 3. This is not live Wave 3, believe it or not. I know his quality is really good, so it's not actually him. This is from his video yesterday. For everyone who didn't know, people were commenting on his audio. I was like, man, people think he's live with us. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the show. I messaged him last night. I said, hey, I'm going to use your show. I was listening to this last night. I was loving it. So, that's kind of how I pull the show.
Cool. No, this is great.
And we are getting Wave 3, guys, just for a little sneak peek. We got Silver the Antidote coming on. Wave 3 TV, Crypto Kool-Aid. Guys, we got Axis live. This is all happening within the next week or so, guys. This is going to be absolutely incredible. We're getting the biggest minds in the crypto world, and we're in the pits of Goblin Town, guys. This is insane. I'm loving this. And these guys have a lot more to lose than me and Sam, so it's an interesting perspective, the way that they talk about it, because me and Sam are always going to be a little more loose verbally because we just don't have our backs against the wall with this in particular yet. But you know what I mean, Sam.
Yes. Hey, I'm glad you found this information, this guy, and I'm curious to see where he goes from here in his analysis.
Yeah, and guys, if you haven't already, please share this out. Please like and subscribe. I've been really working hard. I think you guys have been enjoying it. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. Everyone, we're going to continue.
Turn your notifications on.
Distribution type pattern specifically for Ethereum. And that's why you're seeing Ethereum slide down in price, even though Bitcoin has more or less moved sideways. So when you have a big market cap coin like Ethereum start to drop in the market, and you start to see sort of a retracement on ETH to Bitcoin, it's going to start to drag down the rest of the market with it. So Bitcoin has more or less moved sideways. Ethereum has been sliding down, and then altcoins, a lot of them are dropping much harder relative to that of ETH. So it starts to propagate, depending on where you are within that chain, there's just different varying levels of risk. And a lot of us also just have to consider that, even though Ethereum is the number 2 by market cap, it's still going to have very big swings versus Bitcoin, especially in bear cycles. And this is just something I wanted to highlight on Ethereum. This doesn't have to play out, but this at least gives us a realistic sense in terms of what's possible. And that's really the whole point of analyzing price charts, guys. They're not necessarily intended to give you an absolute projection in terms of what takes place in the market. Absolutes don't work in markets, guys. That's why you see so many incorrect predictions across stocks, especially in crypto, because you have a lot of new investors come into crypto just not really familiar with financial markets and just don't have an understanding of the randomness that just kind of takes place across all the financial asset classes. So Ethereum itself even has very big swings versus Bitcoin. Just at an earlier instance on the price chart, there was even a contraction of close to 60% on ETH to Bitcoin. It doesn't necessarily have to drop 60% today versus Bitcoin, but this at least gives us, a sense of what is reasonable. So even, a 40% drop, that's very reasonable and definitely in line with what's taking place so far over the last 2.5 years on the ETH to Bitcoin pair. So there is a lot of pull even Ethereum has on the market. And if Ethereum starts to struggle, it just ends up dragging down a lot of the market with it. So if we pull up ETH to USD as an example of that, we can see that ETH USD is actually dropping on the weekly time frame. If we pull up the 3-day chart, we could see this is actually dropping on the 3-day, even though Bitcoin has more or less moved sideways. And bounces are going to be in the game, guys. Just don't be surprised if you see bounces at some point or at certain stages throughout this bear cycle, because it is going to happen. There's huge bounces that happen.
So Sam, important point. Before we all just learned about ETH getting dragged down the market. If you don't know, just keep watching Wave 3, keep watching stuff like it's very clear to me, normal. So if you have questions about anything, please drop them in the comments, guys. Please follow, like, and subscribe. I'm also going to be doing a little Shield Masters plug in like 20-30 minutes to show everybody some of their stuff. People have actually been buying some cool stuff, so I'll show some of that. And we are going to continue. But Sam, huge bumps during a bear market. What do we know about this bear market? We'll be able to predict if it's going the other way, because we already got the eye on the politics. We know what's going on. We talked about the election, right?
Think about altcoins as, those whips that they would crack, like, right? And how the whip in my hand as I go to crack, you can think of that as Bitcoin. And then Ethereum is like right next to that, but it's 1.5 feet away from my hand, right? The portion in my hand moves a certain speed, right, in distance that it travels, right? I'm moving my hand a foot right there. Well, you can think of that whip as you move further and further along that whip until you get to the very tip of the whip, being really, really shitty scam coins or things like that. And as that moves, this is what's happening in the market. Bitcoin is going to move the least, right? It's in terms of that whip in my hand. That's Bitcoin right in my hand. I'm moving in a foot. The portion above that, which is Bitcoin, that's going to move 2 feet, right? So it's going to have more volatility. Everything beyond that has even more and more volatility associated with it, until you get to the end where you get these gigantic swings up and down, up and down. If you're not paying attention to financial markets or like how these things work, this always takes place. Always.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's so easy to capitalize on some of this stuff, especially if you know. If I see a 20% pump, guys, I'm just going to be real. There's only 87 in here right now, so it doesn't really matter. Like, you might want to take a little profit off the table. We could be down for a while. I'm not talking about Hex in particular either. Like, Hex isn't necessarily the best asset to trade, in my opinion. But, like, there's definitely assets that you can, hedge your position in USD shit. But, I mean, you know how that goes. It's another risk factor city. Or even Bitcoin, right? What do we know about Bitcoin? It's probably, I don't see it dropping 95% again, but what the hell do I know?
I don't see it. I don't know. I mean, if it comes down to 11,000, that would be like 11 to 14,000 for Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't have the context, but I see if the ratio of ETH to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is like gaining value relative to ETH. I mean, to me, that's money dumping into BTC that's coming out of altcoins. It's coming out of ETH. It's coming out of other places in crypto. And it's like, hey, I see a bear market coming. I see the writing on the wall, and I'm going to put my money into something that the perception is that it is safer, like BTC, in terms of these gigantic ups and downs and swings and all that kind of crap, right?
Right. Like, would anyone be surprised if Hex went to 2 cents? Hell no. Let's be honest at this point, guys. We're in Goblin Town. We're getting there. I mean, and it's as important. I have to defend myself, my intellectual integrity, all the people that I talk to, because I truthfully believe in this. And all the people that I talk to generally know that I know way more than them. So they kind of understand. But still, I believe in the software here. I believe in the OA. I believe in Hex as a value proposition. I really, really, really do. And I think people are sleeping on Pulse Chain big time, big time. And I don't care about going 1,000x in 2 weeks or whatever. I don't think about that shit. I really don't. I don't care what anyone says. I'm sorry. If you think I'm weird for not caring about my bags in particular, I'm just not there yet. I just don't care yet. Just like I've never had any defending. I never needed to defend my financial situation. So it's kind of like I've never felt that pressure. But I'm saying, like, you have to prepare yourself for very bad circumstances here, Sam. Not you, but the people watching.
No,
I'm telling you,
highlighting. Keep
you
it.
think Hex at 2 cents?
Can't go another 99%.
Exactly. I just want people to be safe. Safety for your family. Please keep some money. Please protect yourself. That's why the staking function was created. Put the money into the staking function that you can handle to not see anymore, and then obtain the value that the system provides. Do you see why Hex is not about trading now, Sam? Do you see why when people because whether you bought at 20 cents, 27 cents, or 54 cents, if you staked out a T-share in 5 years, you're going to be like, that was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And it doesn't matter if it was at an 80% dip or an 85% dip. I never thought I would see 2 cents again or whatever. And guys, I bought at 2 cents. My buy-in was at 2 cents, Sam, a little under 2 cents. That was 18 months ago. I never thought I'd see that again. This is reality. I need people to understand reality. And Richard tells it to your face, dude. Like, he's like, dude, crypto drops 95%. He doesn't say Hex doesn't drop 90%. He shows you the chart where it does that. And he highlights it and he says, every single one of these has proven to be a buying opportunity.
And this is that point as we transition from 3.75% of the world population in crypto to, by the end of this year, maybe that's 6, 7, 8% by the end of 2023, as we potentially could turn around what's happening. Maybe by the end of 2023, we're up at 12% of the world population that is in crypto. Shit, it's gonna get bonkers.
Yeah, people don't know. That's why me and Sam, I don't even have to ask him again. Like, we're gonna dedicate so much time to this because this is truly groundbreaking, life-changing, not even money-wise, value providing opportunity for me and Sam. That's what me and Sam love to do more than anything. We would give up everything because it's just what we like to do on the daily. Like,
Fun.
It's fun. It's more
It
fun
is.
for me to research, tell you that the stuff other people are telling you is stupid and why it is stupid in great detail. Very much exciting to me rather than getting people like all the people in my DMs offering me money. So many people offer me money, dude. If you guys knew how many people offer it changed my perspective on crypto a lot.
I think we should do at some point in a future show, we'll show you, not necessarily the person or the project.
I'll just scribble out their name.
We'll just scribble that out, but we will bring that up at some point because I also get these messages. Hey, we'll pay you if you talk about this thing. Hey, can you show us? Can you talk about our token or this thing that's coming up or this? That?
Or they just tell you like, I know you're not rich. Like, if you ever need anything, like that's like the more I get that more often. I get like the whole like, hey man,
I've gotten 2 or 3.
I got pressure. They think I have like a lot of like financial, like anyone would, I guess, but I just don't feel it like that. So they come at me with this like emotional thing, and I kind of bypass it because I'm like, bro, you just gave up all your cards in one sentence, bro. Like you're about to pay me. You know I don't know what I'm fucking talking about yet. You're trying to pay me to talk about your shit. Why? You think I'm going to bring you on the show? I remember these things. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like I am as honest of a person that you will find because I just stopped caring at some point. Like, I don't care if RH hates me. I don't care if Bullish hates me. I don't care if Sam hates me. Like, if it's in my code and it's my honesty code, like I'm just going to keep pushing it harder. Like the harder people come at me, the harder I push back. And I never stop because I don't need anything. I don't.
Yes,
I need bread. I need bread and water, baby. Like
that's
it's
a powerful place to be. I tell this to my girlfriend, like, I really honestly don't give a shit what you think. And it comes across as brash to people who don't understand honesty and don't understand brutal fucking honesty. Like, I don't care what my girlfriend thinks. I need to live my life for myself. And the same thing for my mom or my dad or any of this. There's 6 kids in my family, 6 other kids in my family besides myself, 7 kids total. Right? I don't care what they think. It doesn't matter to me at all whatsoever. I need to do it for me, and that means being
I assumed from that nobody was going to give a shit about me my entire life. So I didn't all this shit about this person likes me now. I'm so happy. Stupid. Like Richard's a man, just like me, just like Sam. He has a skill set. He deployed it, and he dominated. Me and Sam will do nothing less, nothing more in our own lives because that's the thing I love about RH the most is that he pushes me to be better. He pushes me to do, like, I'm like, man, this guy did this and he told everyone about it, and it's possible. He's not a programmer. He's just an intellectual, right? Like, or whatever, like an entrepreneur. And that gave me hope. I was like, I felt him. I was like, we could change the world. Nobody told me I could change the world. No one. They told me I probably wouldn't. And they told me that if I'd get a job working for someone else, that'd be probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
They tell us to think smaller. You're like, hey, I want to change the world. Well, why don't you finish school, Sam?
Even my grandmother was just like the other day. She was like, someone was like, Scott, you're so good on camera. You're going to be like Oprah or something. But even like people's intuitive reactions are just like, you're not going to be bigger than, or like, you're not like, there's no way. Like, but the way that I think is like, I'm going to be the best crypto YouTuber that ever lived, or whatever I end up doing. I might not end up doing this for like the long term, but like, I'm going to be the best at what I do, period.
And whether that's
I'm going to try.
All you need to do is just be better than you were perpetually for the rest of your life, and everything that you choose to place your focus on, whether that's this space that we're using as YouTube, and maybe that changes to the next thing. But I don't doubt that at all, that you're going to take that. I'm going to be the best at this, what we're doing right now, at that next thing, period. That's what you're going to do. It's a beautiful place to be. It's a powerful place to be. If you guys are not comfortable, like if you see fucked up shit happening, if you see bad stuff happening, and you're afraid to call it out because you're afraid of what they might say, you got to grow some balls. Like you need to look yourself in the mirror and have an honest conversation. Like what type of life you live in? Like what type of life you're going to live? If you're not willing to call out bullshit in your own life and people you know, like you're not going to call out other shit either. You need to have a serious conversation with yourself in the mirror. Like that's got to change some stuff. Let's get back into that video because
real quick, Crypto Gains Club dropped something into the chat, and he said, "I'm going to read this all out."
Pull it up.
If you have it, if you have that link right there, yeah. So check Dex Screeners out. The visuals on Dex Screener of the wallet selling versus buying. Wow, interesting. So let's try to interpret what we're looking at here. Real-time wealth transfer. So what he's basically saying is the whales are selling and little guys are buying, right? Guys like me are buying. The smaller guys are buying. Even bigger, smaller guys than me are buying. So is this just wealth transfer in real time? It's so true.
How do you know that the whales are buying? I'm sure the whales are dumping. Like,
well, I mean, you can't move the price as much. I mean, the price moves like that because of the whales. Period. Nothing else, in my opinion. Like there's no retail buyers that are dumping the price.
Yeah, no, I agree. There'd have to be
only big wallets. So you can just basically assume in bear markets, big wallets are selling, little guys are buying, right?
Jim, right. If you scroll more down below the chart, that's what he's trying to point out to you. All the buys and sells. No, not the chart itself.
So scroll down, Sam. On the
right
whole
there.
thing.
Yep, that. Yeah. So if you bring it up.
Hold on a second. Well, down here.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually let me scroll down here.
No. Grab the little gray horizontal bar. Yeah. There you go.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Okay, so what do we got here, Bullish?
So
this is
Crypto Gains Club wanted you to look at that. Basically, these are all the buys and sells currently going on.
So, okay, this is cool because this is awesome information that I've never seen before. GOC, you may have seen this before. This is new information for me. If you get into
pretty new for me.
Dex Screener, DEX, not C, Screener, you can click on below and drag this up, and you are able to actually see the address of the account here. I could click over.
Go to the one with the most funds. Go to the one with the most funds in like the last 100.
Okay, so in terms of USD,
yeah, just like so that one has. 60, I see one down there that has 78,000. That's a sell. 72,000. That's a sell. Here, right there.
The
go up to that red one. Yep, that one. Click on.
And one thing to point out too, if you notice, you're seeing way more green than red.
Yeah, so there's more.
People are buying. People are buying.
Adoption. There's fishies. There's fishies, and they want in.
Okay, so this
Jesus, Lord have mercy on my soul.
So
all right, hold on for 1 second. Right there.
Wow.
So swap 51,000 hex for 1.76 ether. Swap. So lots of hex swapping for Ether, which is fine.
There's also ETH for BTC, wrapped BTC right here. We
So
have
basically, Sam, what does that tell us? They're moving into assets that are more stable.
what we literally just talked about. I was like, the flight to
Yes,
safety, flight to safety.
Incredible.
Look, so we do this in legacy, and you see that people hold U.S. dollars, people hold Treasury bonds, people hold Treasury bills because the perception is that they're safer. Look at this hex, 55 million hex for USDC. Exactly this case. We see transfers from 51 million and 100 million hex for ETH. Then we see transfers to wrapped BTC. Literally 17 minutes ago, we were literally just talking about this. Switching to BTC, or in the legacy land, switching to US dollars. That's what this person is actually doing here.
But Sam, a lot of this may not come back, right? So a lot of this swapping won't come back for the same price. You can assume that, right? It could be a better price or a worse price. But hex can run away. We've seen the OA do things. Sam.
So check this. No, you're right. You're right. It's
crazy, right?
There is, to Bullish's point, thank you for pointing that out, Bullish. There is a lot of green here. Check this out, guys. Like, at least in this last, 6 hours or something like that.
It just shows adoption.
Yes, some of those might be me.
Bullish be spamming.
Hey, Bullish, you want to dock yourself? How much did you buy? Let's see if we can find Bullish.
So yeah, last night within 15 minutes, I got in like around 4-6, and then when that confirmed and the price updated, it dropped to like 0.32. So I made 2 buys yesterday, like buying down, and I think at one point it wigged down to like 0.17.
Wow. Okay, here's an 80 and 90,000 ones here. Selling. I'm gonna pull up one more, and then we'll get back into that video. Let's take a look at this one. This is another one of these. Look at this. 82 million hex for ETH. 123 million hex for ETH. Then we have
that's 123,000, Sam.
83,000.
Yeah.
It's
not as much.
We said a million on the last one. Was it not a million?
No, it was. They're thousands. They've been thousands.
It wasn't on the previous one either. Correct. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate.
Well,
that.
if you look at the conversion to 4 ETH, you can tell 12. So
same thing.
Yeah, so guys, you understand. I mean, we get the point of this now. Like,
yes.
It was as clear as day. We're 5 clicks away to saying exactly the truth about what we were saying. Let's continue with the video for a second. I think this has been a great episode. Like, you know what I mean? I really think this is true. This is I cover what is happening. I cover what I like live. There's enough live information on the internet where I can cover this stuff because all I have to do is click around a little bit at night while I'm getting wind down and listen to a full video, alpha everywhere. I know the channels to follow, and I move on. I learn, I change, I get those guys on, I talk about it. Let's work through some of this stuff, guys. We don't have to lie and say that Hex is going to the moon no matter what. Everything's going to be okay. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But let's look into the facts and details so we can be prepared for anything, because you have to protect your family first and foremost. I don't have a family, but you know what I mean.
There's also but in one sense, the family is the community, in the sense of like everybody who ever consumes any of my content, watches my content, listens to somebody who listens to some type of content, and they hear my perspective on it. I want all those people to have accurate, like, from my, like, the best that I could possibly provide to those people. Remember, we also have a bunch of stakes. We have a bunch of Hex stakes that are coming out in the next 7 to 10 days. A bunch of them. I don't know exactly what the number was. One said 4 billion, another says like, a couple 100 million of Hex. If some of that bleeds out, things can get really, 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 really ugly. Also, a really, really good opportunity if you see what's going on, and if you don't over leverage yourself to like, hey, I need that money in 6 months or however long you decide to take it out. You have to be prepared and plan to do this stuff, and not like put yourself out there where you're uncomfortable having that much money out there and then see it drop by 99%, because then you're effed. Let's
Right,
post the
because
video.
people don't know how to protect their mental health, Sam. It's like, oh my God, your number one thing is your mental health. Protect it. Don't over leverage yourself. Make sure every day that goes by you can handle, but you have to low overhead. Like you, again, no, the kids. Like Sam doesn't have kids. I'm sure Sam would love to have kids, but he has to think about these things very thoroughly, very about the finances, about the spreadsheet. He would never want his kid to have problems. I know that. So he would be way more concerned about not having a kid if he didn't feel like he could prioritize it financially. You know what I mean, Sam? I would feel
100%, dude. I get it. 100%.
because I know you, and that's how I feel too. So let's play this video. If Bullish is here, you might know it.
In bear cycles, and ultimately these are the stages of the markets where you actually want to pay attention, because this is what resets and creates those kinds of upside opportunities again in the future. And the chart history is more to give you a reference again in terms of what is possible, what can play out in markets, and then just the risk management aspect of it, and not trying to either bottom snipe or project when an exact reversal is going to take place is very important, especially given that crypto is just going to track whatever the legacy markets are going to do at this stage. So legacy markets are really the main sort of priority right now in terms of where those ultimately find a bottom. And there's a lot of macro indicators that may even suggest that we're sort of approaching the later stages of a 10 plus year bull market that has taken place in the stock market. So the longer the bull market goes on for, you just have increasing risk that essentially basically plays out across every financial market. Because at the end of the day, all this stuff is tied versus the same liquidity pool, which is the US dollar. So if you have a big drop in the stock market, that removes a lot of liquidity, and then that's less available for the remaining assets to share, and then that causes, of course, it's more dynamic, but basically you end up having contractions across every financial market as assets start to have price discovery back to the downside. Now, what's more important during this bear cycle is how does the relative performance of crypto handle itself or just hold its ground versus legacy assets like the stock market, so the S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ. Because if we pull up the ratio of Bitcoin to the S&P 500, and by the way, this idea is not originally mine. I want to see if we can get the original analyst that started identifying some of these more macro trends versus the stock market, because I do want to properly credit individuals that ultimately are the first ones to identify these kinds of trends, because there's a lot of good insight this particular analyst has specifically with crypto, these sort of macro trends, and has been basically spot on with respect to what's taking place in this bear market, even dating back to where Bitcoin was trading at much higher levels, 50 to 60K plus. So it is important to just kind of build up that sort of network in terms of what you consider as far as reliable information. This is certainly one particular analyst that I think has very good skills at analyzing the markets, because while most are sort of parroting this bull market narrative and are just straight up 100% wrong about it, getting a lot of people wrecked in altcoins, this one has been way ahead of the game, months in advance. Us on our channel, we started to see this in January, but they saw this well before a lot of this has taken place. And a lot of this is time and experience, analyzing these markets. But what's more important is how does Bitcoin ultimately hold up versus this S&P 500? We will go into more detail on this one, but I do want to share the goods of that discussion when we have, that particular, hopefully that the analyst on the panel one of these days. So, we didn't have quite the same upside on Bitcoin to the S&P 500 this most recent bull cycle. So this isn't necessarily ideal, because it does sort of suggest that the explosive growth phase of crypto could actually be slowing down going into the future, and we may just have much slower macro moves play out over longer time horizons. But this, of course, is still speculation right now until we have the results in hindsight. We still have the rest of 2022 to see ultimately where this chart lands. But this will be at least an important metrics for crypto in general over the next couple of years. So before we go into more charts, let's actually see who we have. Let's see what kind of questions we have in the chat right now. So I'm going to try to I'm going to try to go through the comments in the chat. So guys, anybody
All
that's
right, so let's
it's not a
pause
bull
it right
market,
there.
guys. We're in a bear market.
I think that's a good place to end for that stream, because he goes on about more trends and everything. But the thing is with the altcoins, Sam, like we're going to monitor really heavily these altcoins over the time, because we want to see why some coins make it and why some coins don't, right? And it's always going to come back to like these coins that are held up by VC money that are like not adopting properly, and they're not going to make it, right? But we don't know the behind the scenes numbers all the time. So you can almost assume, like, if the project's not functioning properly, like Solana, for example, like Solana doesn't function properly, it goes down all the time. Like, there's going to be speculation on whether Solana will make it through. I think it personally will, but like, it would be crazy to see why it didn't, because then when we're building our shit or whoever's building their shit, it's like, this isn't, take notes, guys. Like, people, you can do things this way or this way. I promise you, one way will work better than the other, and one way is a little bit harder than the other. And it's usually the harder way, but the passionate people will ring through it.
Because if you want the best, if you want to be the best, create the best product, the most value possible, tends to be a little bit harder. Tends to take maybe a little bit longer. Tends to take a little bit more effort.
That life experience, Sam.
Yes.
Richard proved that he had that life experience too. He's like, I had other businesses, guys. Like I marketed stuff. I was online. I was doing the market, whatever that marketing shit that everyone was getting into at the time before my time. Like, he was in the trenches with big money, learning this stuff. And his life experience really does ring through in his product.
Yes. As we were going through and looking at the Dex screener, I had an idea that might be interesting for a video this afternoon, to take a look at the data on that's the thing, GRC, to take a look at the data buys versus sells and the size of those, because I think that might give us some very interesting information. If I copy that, put it into a spreadsheet, and take a look at some of that data to see what is actually going on in like the market, like what types of players are purchasing versus what type of players are selling. Like, it might be some really, really valuable insights I can glean from that, and we could talk about that later. But I was like, oh, this is super, because I didn't even know you could scroll down there. I never even knew you could pull that thing up there.
We might have to do like a prime time, like late night episode, and like hype it up, get two power brains on and go deep while everyone's watching, because it's just a really exciting time for me. Like, personally, like, and I know RH, we got RH Maximalist down below. He's gonna blow some clarity into the ether right now, because just like he knows, I've been reading his tweets and stuff, and he know everyone was asking for 5-cent hex, right? RH Maxi, everyone was asking for it, right? But can they handle it when it comes? Well, it's a different story, baby. You got to prepare yourself, guys. That's what we do here. Let's bring him in.
You can't handle the dip.
They can't handle the dip because they didn't prepare themselves intellectually, right?
Yeah.
You have to know these things.
What's up,
I
Max?
don't. It's doing good, Sam. Yeah. I see the panic. I see the blood. I see all the fear. Everyone wishing, oh, I wish I would have did this and that. And I think just people are over leveraged. I talked about this with Bally Brand last night on the show. People, they either sacked really hard and they just have no money. They're broke, which is fine. Everyone, that happens. You don't plan for it. It happens. Everyone's excited about Pulse and Pulse X. Or they just have major life stuff going on. Yeah, maybe they need to pay the mortgage. They do this and that.
There we go.
They got to take a run. They got to get their jog in. Maybe it costs money to do that. I don't know. But they got stuff going on, and they got to take care of their life. And you look at Whale Hex, and you see the crazy buys and sells, and the stakes ending, and you're just, I would just say, think about, have a little bit of perspective. Don't think everyone's selling or buying or doing something that looks odd to you is crazy. Maybe they have a good reason, and give them the benefit of the doubt, because there's a lot of macro stuff going on in the world these days, and people need money sometimes. And, at the end of the day, you got to take some profit somewhere.
Is it fair to say that you can think about these opportunities in the bear market? You could still make profits in the bear market. Price charts go up and down, whether they're headed down or headed up, right? So there is opportunity here, guys, too. If you understand, I'm not trying to say trade hacks. That's probably not a good idea, to be honest. But there are other assets. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. Like, there's other assets that go up in price. Ethereum. There will be bounces that are the whole narrative will change, but the smart ones now, they won't even flinch on it because we just look at legacy, right? We go straight there.
If this lasts for 12 months, and then I wanted to touch on something you mentioned, Max. If this lasts for 12 months or 24 months, easily possible. Remember, it's been over 10 years of a bull market, over 10 years. We're way overdue. We were overdue in 2015 and 16 for this. So if this lasts for that long, we're going to see 20 and 30%, maybe 40 or 50% pops where you see a run up in things. And there's going to be people dumping on that as it comes back down and continues to trend down lower potentially, like during this period of time. You mentioned over leverage. I've mentioned being over leveraged. GRC has mentioned being over leveraged. Let's dive into that a little bit deeper, because I think that would be really valuable to some people whether they don't have the experience or like what's a framework you can utilize to try to think about that, right? Because so many people do it and then they make foolish decisions for their future self. They make foolish decisions by over leveraging self today, and then their future self is in a worse position mentally and potentially financially because of what they did today. So talk about like what's a framework we could put together? Like, how could we provide something to like give that to have more people use that or think about that in a more in depth, because we don't want people to over leverage themselves.
Yeah, and it's easy to say, oh, don't over leverage, don't put in more than you can afford, all these things. But when you look at sacrifice phases and you see all the exuberance and you see all the excitement, you start being irrational, and it's hard to think of how to think about now. Ask yourself, what are you going to be doing in a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 months from 2 years from now? What's the world going to look like? It's really hard to put those together, and that's why you have financial planners, you have market experts, you have people who study these things for a living to really make those decisions. So it's you have people that work out and get really strong muscles and they become experts in muscles as well.
It's so just over and over again. The more you do it, like it's just like
compounding
life experience, right? Like you could have easily you've probably taken a hit too. Like every person, like we all were pumping at 54 cents. It was lit. Everyone was sending super chats that they couldn't deal with. Everyone was doing all $500 super chats. Every super chat was $500 back then, literally, like from all these guys. But guess what? It's just like, hold your horses. 85% dips are real. They're not just talked about every day by Richard. They actually occur, like
in September too. I remember, I bet everyone was looking at their stakes like, whoa, this is going great. I'm going to be so rich. And then just kind of down and then up, down, and then up, down, and up, down. So it's, like I said, it's hard to plan to know what's going to be going on for you personally. Like you can kind of plan more around that, but the world, we all knew the bear market was coming eventually. We didn't know when. You can't, it's hard to make decisions based on that. But I would just say that, again, it comes down to the fundamentals. Don't put in more than you can afford to lose. And number two, don't have expectations. A lot of people thought Pulse Chain was coming out last year. And then Pulse X sacrifice. Oh, it can't be past April. It can't be past May. Even Richard said mid-May. And then he had to eat those words a little bit too, unfortunately, because of the bugs and the new code development. So don't have these expectations.
Or he's waiting for Goblin Town. Or he's waiting for Goblin Town to be official.
That would be a glorious move, though. Like if I was doing that, and I was like how amazing the stuff that I was creating was, and I understood the adoption curve of what's happening at a macro level, coming out at the bottom of a bear market. What a glorious time!
That would be funny.
Like
everything's done right now, but he's like, you know what? We're gonna wait a little bit. We're gonna get some 3-cent heck before we do this Pulse launch, and then out of nowhere, boom!
People think the OA likes to buy tops and sell bottoms, but I disagree. I disagree. Yeah. I think the smartest way to do it would be to get the best deal as far as pump, because what's the best marketing in Hex, guys? Pump price. So
Let's go up.
and the OA has proven to understand these things very.
That's something that people talk about the OA as if, apparently, obviously all the naysayers say, oh, the OA, that's the biggest risk. He's your best friend.
He's the best. He's the only not risk. He's the only not risk.
He, she, robot, whatever it is, that is your best friend. And they haven't sold any Hex. Why would they sell any Hex if they have any stake in the system? That is who, that's one of the fundamentals in the system. It's not a detriment. It is a positive. And a lot of people, I don't know, they see this OA as this risky thing, but you see what the OAs did before and you think about who they may be and what they may be incentivized to do in the future, they're your best friend.
You got to think very logically about the OA. You got to look at the addresses. You got to look at the movement. Why don't they stake for 10 days at a time? If the OA wanted to milk so much money so bad, then why don't they stake their shit at all? Why don't they sell their stuff at all?
I think people think very myopically, right? Which is just the word for short-term kind of thinking, right? And if you think like somebody who wants to milk the system for the most that they can, they're not going to do that behavior, right? Because think about like where I like to think of myself as thinking long-term. I like to think of myself.
I got to pee real quick. I'll be right back.
Cool. So you're not wearing a diaper, so you should be wearing a diaper next time.
And we have a guest, so I can bring up the guest too.
Okay, cool. We can definitely bring up the guest here. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Hex Pulse Radio. So we have a phantom guest here. There we go. What's up, brother?
Yo.
How you doing? How are you doing?
A phantom guest? Oh, let me mute this. I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing? Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, nice to meet you, sir. I think I've seen you on stream mine or two.
What do you feel is going on?
One second.
Can you not hear us?
I can't hear from the stream.
May have a delay or
Audio, speakers.
So it's all right. Well, you get that figured out, and then we'll mute it. So
you're talking about the OA?
Yes. If somebody wants to maximize value, they're going to think long term when you get to that standpoint. And to really maximize value, you think long term. So if you're thinking 10, 20 years out into the future, like doing short-term actions to try to peel off money today is just what it is. Short-term actions that actually decrease your future self. What we were just talking about, Max, was like what can people do to help that future version of themselves, not over leverage yourself today. You can protect this, right? You can help this be in a better spot in the future and your pocketbook by making those intelligent decisions today and by taking short-term actions like staking, as GRC was saying, staking stuff for 10 days. Don't like if you're thinking long-term, you're just gonna I'm gonna do this and show these fuckers and get this thing to $100 or whatever that is in the future, because think of where he is right now as inflation goes on, and he's getting 50% of all the early end stakes, or the OA, when I say he, right, is getting 50% of all the emergency end stakes and something else, right? Aren't they getting something else as well? Penalties,
I thought didn't they stake and then bleed out something for a while? I thought there was some some of the sister stakes or something were staking for a while and just not.
So I think they unstaked and just left it because I think they updated their game plan a little bit. It seemed like they maybe extrapolated some thought into the future and said maybe the best play is to not. And then so basically the OA has proven, if you look at all the accounts, it has proven to only do what's in the exact best interest of every other person and the worst interest of themselves.
Of the stakers. Yeah.
As far as if it was they keep the ratcheted price down, they don't take liquidity out of the system, but they hold a lot of the coins. Therefore, they can act. They can still make moves, whatever. We have somebody on the show that I have never met yet. His name is Hex Pulse Radio. His camera's a little bugged out right now. Can you hear me?
Is it? Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Is my camera working?
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
It's just a little fuzzy. It's like 1999. That's all.
Really?
If you watch it on a 2-inch screen, it looks great.
Do you have
Well,
a
sorry
name?
about
Do you have
that.
a name that you go by? Other than I know your name's Hex Pulse Radio.
No, someone was telling me though I need to have like a stage name.
Yeah, it'd
But
be
I
cool
don't
if I could
really-
like call you something other than Hex Pulse Radio. I love the name though. I love it.
HPR.
HPR, the NPR of crypto.
So tell us a
Okay.
little bit about yourself. Just give us a little bit of I'm pretty new here. I'm just learning everything as I go. I've seen your stuff. People have requested to have you on, so I knew that I immediately put two and two together that you must be an intellectual of sorts. You think about this stuff. What's your story with all this? Where did you get involved with Hex and crypto in general?
Yeah, so I got into crypto kind of when the whole 19, where you can't say on YouTube started. And I was like going down the rabbit hole of that. And I learned about Bitcoin. And then I was basically just focused on altcoins because like those were like the big potential is. And one night, like 2 a.m., I found a Richard Hart live stream when I was watching it. And at first I was just perplexed, like how Richard looked. It was like very intriguing, his whole backdrop and everything. But what kept me there is the information. Like he just dropped so many knowledge bombs, and then he started talking about Hex. I ended up buying a bit, and that was right after the big payday dump. So I got it right. Like, I mean, I was like a year late to Hex, but I got it at a good point. And over time, I just got more and more sold on the product. But shout out to you guys. Like, people don't realize how hard streaming is, and you guys do it like every single day. And I just want to give my hats off to you guys for doing that, because I couldn't do that, and I don't think people realize how much like effort that takes. So
Hey,
shout out to y'all.
Hey,
We don't even think about it that way. At least
I get excited like a schoolgirl every time the show comes on. But I swear to God, I'm like, again, the product of me and Sam's personality is a product of the way we do the show as well. It's like we're OCD bodybuilder dudes. We like to do everything the same way all the time. You know what I mean? So it almost fits my personality rather than where some people are like, oh, it would be a little bit hard for me because so I love the structure. It just makes me feel at home, right? Like I feel
it's like we're gonna go down to the gym. We need a meal prep. We need to get this done. Oh, we got to take our supplements and vitamins and everything like that. It's like, boom,
yeah.
boom,
But anyway, so thank you so much for the props. We're giving this hell because I truthfully believe this is the future of finance. Like I believe that. Like I'm a smart guy. I've done all cool things in my life. And I've been right about a lot of shit, not necessarily financially. I never really worried about all that yet. But as I move forward into crypto, it's like, just look around, guys. Look at the software. Richard's life experience really rings through in his product. He really knew what he was doing. He had forethought. That's what I enjoy about him, Alex from Hedron. A lot of these products, it's like they thought about the future first. And they thought about adoption and why. They thought about marketing, why, how, what is this? What is going on? They extrapolated all that instead of saying, how can I suck as much money out of people as possible, which is generally the business plan of most people, while providing like baseline value.
They say the best products are the extension of their founders. So I think no less is true with Richard Hart ecosystem.
He calls it the Hearts Mafia. That's what is that that's what Bullish calls it, because he was around when the PayPal Mafia thing was pumping, and that was like the talk of the town then. So he's like, dude, this feels the same. It feels like that felt, and he says it all the time. He's like, this feels like the same feeling, like that the PayPal, all those companies that came together, like it was so serendipitous or whatever, like it all worked, and you can feel a lot of that in this community.
So that's super interesting. Not that I was really paying attention to the PayPal thing, but for those of you who are not aware, like Elon Musk was in PayPal. Peter Thiel. There's one of the founders behind LinkedIn. There was like a bunch of people that were on like that first 50 to 100 people team that went out, and I think Pinterest may have started there. Bullish, right?
Max Levchin from he's doing a firm.
David Sachs from Yammer and a bunch of other companies.
So think about what's happening right now. You had that ethos of what was thank you, Bullish. I appreciate that. What was taking place back in the day, but now what if you're able to expand that so you have instead of 17 or 26 people who are trying to make the world a better place, who are trying to help more people, who are trying to be 100% honest, who are 100% honest in every single thing that they do, and they're trying to create a better world, but that expands over a lot more people with, say, the RH like ecosystem. Those people went on to create giant companies and impact the world in the way that they have impacted it. Now, this could be like the 2.0 where you have a lot more people going out, getting a bag, and now they have that freedom where they don't have to do the job, so to speak, and they can go through and create way more impact. That's a very interesting way of looking at that. Go ahead, Max.
How do you make sure your ideals don't die? One way is to create more people to think like you and will continue on your products and services and ideals and businesses and things. And that's, at least even with SciVive, that's what Richard's doing with SciVive too. He wants to create a community of people who think like him, want to do these things, health, wealth, happiness, all this stuff. And same thing in crypto. He's creating the ecosystem where his ideals, even when he's gone one day, they'll live on. Maybe people be staking X for 45 years at that point. We'll see. But that's what he's doing. He's in it for glory, and he wants to be great, and that's what he's pushing for.
Do you guys feel similarities in your personality? Were you drawn to him because you felt like underlying, maybe not the brashness and all that. Everyone's different in that sense, of course. But like the drive that I feel in my life is similar to what he talks about. But of course, I don't do crypto stuff. I don't build any of that stuff. But like, I'm here to prove people wrong 24/7, 365. I want nothing else than to make everyone suffer because they know I outwork them. Because that's what motivates me. It motivates me to show human potential to others and let them know. How many people in this chat, biceps in the chat, have worked harder since they started watching this show? Because they know I'm going hard. They know every day I'm showing up. And then I started the fitness challenge. I'm telling you, I want people to think like me as well. You're so right. I do. What do you guys think? What Hex Pulse Radio? What about your personality? Did something ring true? Do you feel any of that? Like you were relating to him?
100%. I mean,
what was it for you? Go ahead.
It's just like kind of the bluntness of him. Like so much of this, like the culture that we live in nowadays is everyone's walking on eggshells. Like you say the wrong pronoun and you get canceled, right? And so what drew me to Richard was the knowledge and then just the speaking your mind. Because I have that problem in my life. Like I get into situations where I just kind of speak too much, and it's something that I've had to like practice dialing back on. Like not everything has to be an argument. Like if I believe that I'm speaking the truth, I'm going to speak it. Well, that gets me into a lot of issues sometimes because people can't always handle the truth. So I feel like this is some ethos that kind of ripples through the whole community of Hex. Like we're free thinkers, and that's kind of why we were able to see the value in Hex to begin with.
We're leaders. We're leaders in our own lives. Leaders don't listen to other people. You know what I mean? Like you could take advice, you can look around, but leaders in general, I'm the first one to say if Hex didn't work out, I'd be here the next day talking about the next thing that I wanted to talk about. And I wouldn't have much of an issue because I've always been 100% honest about my understanding of all these things. It's not 100% there. It's not there yet. It's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what billionaires are talking about in the green room. I don't. I'm not going to say that I do. But what I do know is that past trends, right? Past trends. I can only look at past trends. And with this coin in particular, the trend is redonkulous for when the dips happen. But this is the most major dip that, and for the longest time that Hex has ever experienced.
Well, not even Hex. Just think about the Richard Hart. If Richard Hart was a company and you bought stock in it a few years ago, he was already rich. And then Hex, and then Pulse Chain and Pulse X. Like his stock keeps going up. So it's not even just about Hex. It's about you believing and investing in him. It's been very profitable in the past, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
What do you guys think about as far as this bear market, right? You guys probably have your thoughts. What kind of what kind of things do you look for as far as trend changes, right? Like I'm talking about months and months in the future. Like as this all plays out, like what would you look for? Do you look at legacy first? Do you see what they're playing around with? Like once those rates start changing, stuff like that, is that the sign? Or is the sign like, could it be independent for, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
What are those turning points? What are some of the things that you guys are looking for or paying attention to? Or is it you're just the overall sentiment?
And opportunities in the bear market. What opportunities do you see with the bear market?
Goblin Town. Yeah, I mean, I think like as long as stocks and traditional finance is going down, I don't see crypto recovering anytime soon. Like what you were saying, Sam, like we've been in a 10-year bull market, and I've never been in a crypto bear market, and I've had to learn the hard way about like de-risking when you're at the top. I've never taken profits on Hex really, like, and now we're at this price point. I wish I kind of had, because I could be like really improving my bag, but I'm no, expert on, I have a degree in economics, but I'm not an economics expert. But
technically,
I think, technically, I mean, I have my degree, but
it's funny. It's like once you get into crypto, you're like, technically, I was studied this shit, but I don't know any of it. but then when you're in crypto, you're like, I didn't study any of that, but I know all of it. Just trust me.
Yeah, I was a very mid student, anyways.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lazy about things unless I'm really into it, and then I just like work relentlessly to figure it out. And that's like crypto was one of those things for me where I just saw the ROI on it. Like there's no, I think one Shiba Inu, and like forget Shiba Inu, not to mention it, but one Shiba Inu wallet turned like 9,000 into 6 billion. I don't know if you guys remember seeing that.
Yeah, dude, crazy.
And that might have been the founder, but like wealth creation doesn't happen like that anywhere else. And that's why it baffles me how people still like don't want to learn how to set up a MetaMask, right? It's too difficult. And it's like, what better use of spending your time on than this?
Well, you sound like a leader, right? You're just taking you want to be in the weeds. Like some people just don't want to be in the weeds, dude. Like they just are scared by it. Like when my mom hears about violence, it just scares her. She wants to turn away. When I hear about violence, I want to know what happened. How did it occur? How could I maybe not have that happen to me or whatever? Like, so I know Sam's about to say something, but it was a great point by you.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. Max, do you want to say something first, and then I'll touch on an opportunity after you touch.
Yeah, I just want to go back to, he mentioned staking and having some to buy the dip too, and it's something that Sam and I were talking about a few minutes ago, where the common advice is, if you're staked, why are you worried, right? If it's locked up for years, why do you care about the price until your stake comes up? And I would amend that a little bit too, to just think, when times like this do happen and the prices do go low, maybe you shouldn't be 100% staked. Maybe you should have some dry powder on the sidelines. And I mean, again, obviously staking is the best strategy, but does it have to be 100%? Can it be 80-20? Can it be 90-10?
Well, you have to support your lifestyle, and you have to be able to do that for months on end. If you have a family, again, I always bring up the family thing because I don't have to do shit. I don't have jack fucking shit, and I don't have to pay for jack fucking shit. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's not my shit, but I'm a man, so I understand family and stuff. Like, it's all about de-risking yourself. You have to put yourself first. In order for me to spread the message that I want to spread, I had to put myself in the position where I didn't need anyone else. It wasn't crypto necessarily. I made my overhead $800 a month. I wanted to do this. I needed to figure this out. So it's not just luck. I didn't just turn my camera on, right? I morphed my whole life into a way where I could support this. Just like Hex Pulse Radio was saying, I was addicted to this. My work, I couldn't think about it anymore. I was failing at work. I mean, I was still making a lot of money, but like compared to my prime work, it was horrid. So I was like, oh my God, like I need to switch. But the overhead thing, over leveraging yourself, it always comes back to it. If you don't have money ready to go, as a man, you have failed. You had failed as a man. And I'm not saying like, obviously you can do a million different things, but if you have a family and you're whining on Twitter about other people selling their shit because you forgot to sell the top, then you need to look in the mirror and understand.
This is you had mentioned opportunities, and this is an amazing opportunity. This is more on the income side, the cash generation side, right? Because during a bull market, people will just sell some crypto to get cash. But I'm going to show you a chart here. This is Google Trends. So this is the largest search engine in the planet. Like it's something like 1 billion searches per day. When you look at data, the more data points you have, it tends to be better, right? Because then you get to see what's going on. This is e-commerce. This is from 2008. So this is from the last recession until now. What is the clear trend here? Is that down to the right or is it up and to the right?
It's a good looking chart.
It's up and to the right. Now, another interesting trend you can layer on top of this. So if you're like, how could I take advantage of this? So you see this, we already know that the vast majority of sales in the future are going to be coming online. So this is from this company right here. This is the e-commerce sales from 2011 to 2021 in terms of billions of dollars. What does this look like? This is the beginning of another S curve, right? We talk about adoption curves and all that fun shit, right? Related to crypto. If you've had that itch, if you've had that yearning to do your own thing and be your own boss and help the world in the way that you see fit by building a business, because people think about business as making money, but when you understand business, it's about providing value. It's about providing value to the marketplace, to you, anybody who's working for you, you're helping your suppliers by buying stuff from them, which they're getting value. You're helping your customers because in order for a customer has to buy something from you, the price is here. The value has to be greater than that or they won't purchase. So the idea of a business is to provide value to the marketplace. One amazing way that you could do it, if you have that itch inside of you, if you've got that fire, like you want to work way more hours than 30 hours a week, because working for yourself, you do, but it's fun. E-commerce and online sales are going to continue to grow. What happens when the tide is coming in? Even if your business sucks or your boat sucks, your boat is going to get lifted up. So if you were like, hey, how do I generate additional income? Building an online business with online sales, stupid good opportunity right now, guys. Stupid good opportunity. The tide is going to continue to rise. That means your boat will rise even if your e-commerce business sucks, please.
Yes, because Sam, same thing happens in the crypto market. In a bull market, every YouTuber is correct about everything because everything's going up. It doesn't matter if it's Saitama Inu or Dogecoin or Shibu. It's like you can pretty much predict that the velocity of those things in a bull market will be higher than Bitcoin and pretty much most of everything. But it happens quick, right? It's fake money. It's inflated. But the more steady eddy something is, Hex, Pulse Chain, Hex, Ethereum, Bitcoin, it slows it down a little bit. But as you can see, it's like we're not even there yet. 85% volatility to me just means like the adoption curve is just so real. It's just we're just right in the beginning of it. We're just right there. And it's crazy because you can change the world right now. You can build something. There is room for you. I swear. It doesn't matter what all the Hexcans say about whatever. It doesn't have to be crypto either. There's room to build. There's excess resource. There's plenty on this earth and nobody's capping it. Nobody except the few people that pay attention long enough during these trend changes, right? Guys like us, entrepreneurs, young men. These are the people that take over for the next gen, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up e-commerce too, because you think about like 50 years ago, all the work you had to do to start like a brick and mortar store, right? All the startup capital you need, all the overhead. Now you have 16-year-olds making millions a year and there's no overhead with Shopify, you know? That's a crazy opportunity.
You could hire somebody like you're like, I don't know how to hire somebody. What's all the paperwork? Go to Fiverr. There's 1,000 websites Fiverr where you can hire somebody to do like all the shit that you don't know how to do. That's literally what I'm in the process of doing. Like last year I fucked up and I trusted somebody I should not have trusted, and they stole $40,000 from me, which put me into a position which I'm now what it is. I need to deal with it, right? So I'm dealing with that, and through that process, I'm working through and hiring the people I need to hire to help me grow. Because you see these trends, right? We see the trend with crypto. We know this is the future. whether it takes us 3 years, maybe it takes us 9 years, who cares? We know what's happening in this macro environment. The same thing is happening with the digital sales, online sales, e-commerce. This stuff is going to continue to explode. Like another thing that's super valuable if somebody wants to generate additional income and they like providing value, the education space. Like what? look at cars, right? I have a Tesla, right? So you go from like the Model T to a Tesla. You go from this like clunker POS. At the time, it was amazing, right? But this other thing, relative to today, was horrible. This gigantic amount of innovation in that space. You look at computers, right? Say 1940s, 50s, maybe it was like a calculator was considered a computer. To today, where this is like far more powerful than like what went into space and on a lot of satellites, like what we have is phones. You know what space has not kept up with innovation, that has not changed, that has not evolved to provide more value to the people in it?
Nuclear energy.
And education. Education has utterly failed. Education has utterly failed. This is going to be another trend where we're going to see just the continued adoption of education in terms of courses, coaching, all this kind of masterminds, all this kind of stuff. If you like that, you have expertise 10, 20, 30 years in an industry, you can go through. Maybe you're like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm smart enough. You are smart enough. You have a shitload of education in your specific arena, and there's people out there that would be willing to pay you to learn reality, not the garbage that's taught in school. So there's another great opportunity to earn money.
YouTube 100%. University is a real thing.
What did you say?
So YouTube University is a real thing. I mean, that's what how do you learn something? You use Coursera, YouTube, you get on YouTube to search for it. You go sign up for a class, whatever it is. And most things are online these days. Even when you go get your real estate license, all the courses are online, right? Maybe you go in and take a test or something. But education, it's funny because we're sort of in an education bubble. Another thing Peter Thiel talks about a lot as far as tuition and all these things go. And it can only go one way from here. Like people are they're going to stop going to college. They're going to stop getting these degrees that they get out of college with, and they can't do anything. They're not going to get they get a job that pays half of what they're expecting, and then they're kind of stuck in that system for a while. But people are going to start getting, I can see, in a decade or so, certificates, everything online, experience counts more than your paper, all this stuff. That's going to shake up the industry a lot too. So education's in for a disruption for sure, but it's needed. It's tuition costs way too much. You shouldn't have to. First, you can't buy a house. You're getting out of school now. You can't buy a house forever, probably. You can't. You got to pay student loans forever. All this stuff. So education is going to get shaken up in the next few years. It has to. Something has to change.
I have $120,000 of student loans, and this is probably the first time I've said this on here publicly. $120,000 of student loans, because I thought that was the path. I was homeschooled my whole life, and I thought I needed to catch up to these other fuckers who were in school learning about dumb shit that didn't have any relevance to reality. And so I was like, okay, cool. I will get, I'll go through to school. I'll get an MBA because that's what people think is valuable. Right? I'll go get a CFA because that's what people think is valuable. In reality, not so much. Right? You do learn stuff. It is valuable in certain ways, but it's a lot cheaper, more efficient ways.
God was looking out for your boy. When I got arrested when I was 19, I would have just kept going on with school. But I stopped after that, not because of the arrest, just because I just switched up after that, I guess. But that saved me a lot of shit. I got kicked out of school before I really even got started. And I would have gone back or whatever, but I just started working, or saved me a lot of debt, saved me a lot of everything, saved me a lot of time. I got to go live on my own and just figure shit out, or I wasn't on my own, you know what I mean? Just move on, figure stuff out. I'm always I want to get uncomfortable all the time. I don't want to do the same shit. It's boring as fuck. I want to do shit. I want to go I want to get rejected sometimes. I want to learn about shit. I want to get hurt. I like feeling stuff. I like going through and because I know other people are avoiding it. And I know
failure is the best teacher, right?
Yeah.
When you feel uncomfortable, it means there's an opportunity for growth. It's not the best feeling, but it's and what you were saying, Sam, I used to be a teacher, And so what you're saying really resonates with me. And like the whole education system is basically just built to pump kids into factories, but we don't have any factories anymore, right? So it's like between social media, YouTube, e-commerce, there's so many opportunities that they don't teach you about in school or college, really, that the ROI on these things is just so much better. But everyone is just pushing you into university. You have to go to college. That's the only path. I mean, even like trades, like plumbing, right? You can make $200K a year after you like get your apprenticeship in like 5-7 years into a plumbing career. But
imagine if I had taken $120,000 and took out a loan and I put that into building a fucking online business. Bro, like, you know what I mean? This is why I'm saying things. Not that school's not
easy.
Like, I learned a lot of stuff that has been tremendously helpful in other facets of my life, right, throughout this process. And if you are not paying for school and your parents are gonna like just give you money to go to school or that kind of thing, like make more friends. Like I was just like, okay, cool, I'm here for school, like I'm not paying attention to like the relationships. The relationships are so valuable that I just didn't pay attention to.
Guys, we're gonna end the show here. It's been absolutely incredible. You two bros just jumped on because I was sending links around. I want to do another full episode sometime with both you guys, of course. And you know, there's a lot of opportunity. I'm not going anywhere, so I don't. There's going to be a lot of YouTubers that come and go, but this is the biggest opportunity that has presented itself to me. Not this channel, but like the bear market, right? So like, it's like I want to be focused on it. I want to be. I never want to forget this experience. I want to take because I want to be a leader, right? Like I need to take the lessons from this that are learned, just like some of you guys said. I wish I'd sold some more near the top. Anyway, we could talk all day, guys. This is Crypto in the Morning. We're live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to drop links everywhere for everyone, but I definitely do have to go. I actually have to go somewhere, so I'm going to talk to everyone tomorrow. Guys, what a pleasure.
Awesome.
Check out the links down below. Appreciate
Peace out, guys.
Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon, Jesse.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys, I appreciate it.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. Richard Heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and get me a check. He's gas up and got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse.